Hi everyone, Tami Walker here with Tami's Crafty Creations. I thought I'd take a break from my craft fair prep to show you guys how I put together these really cute apple cider cups. These I sold at my craft fair last year, and I had about 20 of them and I sold all of them. People liked getting them for putting at their place setting for their Thanksgiving dinner to give as a small gift to their guests, and they also bought them for people, for their co-workers, teachers and such, to give as small gifts. So I wanted to share this with you. That way if you wanted to make these for your friends or family or co-workers, or even to sell at your craft fair, you can. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on in. These things that the items that I'm using, I will go over with you guys as we are moving along. And this project consists of items from Stampin' Up! And from my Cricut, where I had designed stuff in Design Space to cut with my Cricut, and then of course some things from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. The first thing that we're going to do is start working with making our cup. And I'm using some craft paper for this, and I probably purchased this from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. But the size of this paper is a 5.5 by 7. And I'm going to bring my scoreboard in and we're going to do some scoring. On the short side, we are going to score at 5. So this is on the 5.5 side. We're going to score at the 5 mark. And then again at 5.25. Then we're going to turn it around to the other short side, and we're going to do this again. 5 and 5.25. Okay, so now we're going to turn it to the long side, the 7-inch side. And our size of our paper is 7-inch, so we're going to score it at 3.5. And then on just one side here, we're going to score at 4 5/8, just to that second score line here. 4 5/8, just to that line there, and then we're going to turn it again to the other long side, and we're going to score it at 2 3/8, just to that second score line. So let you guys see, and if you can see, the score is really good, but that's what your paper should look like. Put my board up. So now we're going to cut out between this score line here over to this second long score line and all the way down. We're cutting all of that out on both sides, and cut on your score line. So I'm going to cut up my long score line all the way up to that little short line there, and then we're going to cut across, cut that out, and we're going to do this to the other side. I'm going to tuck that little flap in so I can get my scissors in there. Now you could cut this out on your paper trimmer if you're that good. I just rather just use my scissors. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. Now we're going to fold this piece in half using our score line that we did earlier in the center here as our folding point, but I still want to make sure I get my paper up to the edge as close as I can. So I'm using my little bone folder here to get it up there close, and fold it down, and then burnish it. Get that corner nice and crisp. Okay, so our next step is we are going to use a ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to start on this corner here. Let me see if I can zoom in so we can catch that a little better. Okay, so I'm going to get out of the glare, start on this corner here and just line it up on the 1-inch mark, and I'm going to come in to the 1/2-inch mark here, and I'm going to just add me a little pencil mark there. Probably can't see it, but it's there. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over. On this back of the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. Little mark there. That lets me know where to start cutting. Let me zoom back out so you guys can see. So now we're going to start at that little pencil mark, and we're going to cut to this corner here. And I like to curve mine. It gives it kind of a curved effect. It looks more like a cup. And all the way to that corner, you have that. We'll flip it over and do the other side. Now if you're left-handed, you will probably want to mark this side and then flip over and mark that side. That way you can cut them out. Okay, corner there, snipped it off. Then I'm going to take my little eraser here from my pencil, and I'm going to take off the marks on the sides. I have our pencil mark there. Okay, so we have our little cup here ready to be assembled, except for adding a few more things. I am going to be adding a piece of Stampin' Up's DSP as a stripe on my cup, and the measurement for this is 1 1/4 by 4 1/2. It's a smidge long, which is okay. That way I can trim it off. I want to make sure I get the front of my cup covered. So I am going to use my fast fuse to put adhere this down. That way I don't have to worry about it popping off my cup. The regular Snell is not strong enough. Once you start putting in your goodies, it'll want to cause this piece of paper to want to pop off the cup. So we don't want that, especially if you're selling these for people to give. So, and I'm going to come down roughly a 1/2 inch, just eyeballing it, trying to make it as straight as I can. Okay, put that down and rub it down good. Now I'm going to trim off the 2 edges here. Okay, and then do this side just to trim it off. Now this paper here is some designer series paper from Stampin' Up. It was from the Painted Autumn, I believe is what it was called. It was from their holiday catalog, I believe last year or the year before. Don't quote me on that. So we have that nice and down. Our next thing we need to do is add our cup. Now this is where my Cricut comes into play for these next few steps, because I used my Cricut to cut out. It's basically a letter C, and I liked how big it was and the way it was shaped. It looked like a cup handle. And if you have anything on hand that's a big letter, I think Stampin' Up has some big letter dies they had. I don't think they have them anymore, but you may have them. You could possibly use those as well. Or find something round that you can you know, lay out, trace, and cut by hand, and then do something that'll fit inside a little smaller to make yourself a little handle if you don't have a Cricut. I like my Cricut. It makes life easier for when I'm trying to do my craft fair stuff. One of the things I did end up doing was taking another one of my C's. I had extra, and I went in and laid it out to decide how much of a handle I wanted poking out. And then I went in and I marked it with my pencil, and then I trimmed that off. And I use that as my template to lay on top of my other C's or other cup handles that I have, and then I'll just draw me a little line marking that spot on my other handles, put that to the side, and then I just add glue. So we're going to be using some liquid glue. I like this art glitter glue. I like Tombow too, but Tombow has been really sticky. It gets on my fingers and it's super sticky and it won't come off. I mean, you have to wash your hands really good to get it off. This stuff here does a good job sticking as well. It's super strong and it doesn't, you know, get all gummy and gunky on your fingers when you go to use it. So I'm going to line up, you know, close to my line here on my cup handle. This side here of my cup, and then the top of my cup, and just kind of push it down. That adds, I mean, that just add a little bit of pressure because it makes the glue to adhere. And see, I'm wiping this up with my fingers, and it's not super sticky like the Tombow is, and it dries really good, and it's really strong, just as strong as Tombow. So we have our cup design stripe, our handle. Now we need to actually put our cup together to make it more 3D. So I'm going to fold in my tabs on both sides and just kind of push it forward to where it'll lay more straight. Do the same over here. Okay, and then just kind of set it up to where once we add our glue and we can fold it up, it'll lay nicely. I'm going to add our liquid glue to this side of the tab and then this side as well. And then we're just going to fold it up and line it up with our cup edge and our cup corner here. And just kind of hold that in place while I adjust this side as well. Just kind of hold it there and kind of lightly press it. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to press down that tab on the inside. And I could stick my fingers in there, but my fingers are fat and it'll just pull the tab away from the cup, and I don't want that. So there we go. We have our nice little packet, or little cup packet. So the next thing I want to work on is I'm going to put this aside, and I am going to pull in my apple. Now the apple is another one of my Cricut things that I made, and I have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook page. It's Tami's Crafty Creations, and then I have a Facebook group that's Tami's Crafty Creations Shared, where I don't have a ton on there now, but I try to share my Cricut files to that particular group for others to be able to use to find easily. And that way you can get on there, find it's not under files, it's just on the page itself. I don't have a files tab. I could not figure out how to do that. I looked and looked, and I don't think you can in that particular group. Not to mention I can't share Cricut files in there because it's just Cricut. It's just a weird thing. But you can go onto that group, and of course you have to request to join and all that stuff, and you can get these files to where you can pull them up, click on them, it pulls up into your Cricut. If you have a Design Space website, it should pull up into your Design Space website, and you just click to customize or to make it, or however you want to do it. So what I did though is I went in and I took a few designs that I liked and made them the way I wanted them. And so all you have to do is cut these out if you're doing this with Cricut. And what I did was I cut out the stem and the leaf, and I actually had to merge these two pieces, or weld these two pieces together, and then I cut out another leaf to lay on top of here and the apple. And you just trim the stem off this leaf here, and then we're going to use a little bit of this glue. I'm going to glue it down to the leaf of the brown stem here, and it just lays right on top. It should line up perfectly. It's the same size. I just did it this way, that way you can have, it made it easier to connect all these pieces, because the way the design was, it was just like this. It was not actually connected. So I wanted to make it to where I could connect everything. So I went in and played with it and made it the way I wanted it. And so I'm going to add glue to my stem bottom and just to the base of the leaf like that. And then I'm going to lay it on top of my apple, trying to get my stem upright a bit. Okay, and this apple size, if you can't find my file or whatever and you want to make your own, the size of this apple is a 2.2 by 2.7. That's Cricut sizes. So 2.2 by 2.7. And then the C for the cup handle, actually that's the C for the cup handle, is 2.2 by 2.7. The apple size is, where did I have it? Is 2 by 2.3. So the apple size is 2 by 2.3. And the letter C that I used for my cup handle is 2.2 by 2.7. That's the size measurement that I have here. That way you can get it to fit your the cups that we're working on now. So I'm going to set my apple to the side for right now, let it dry. While that's drying, we're going to go ahead and start doing some stamping, and using some a couple of my punches to punch this stuff out. Now, like I said, I was using Stampin' Up! Products as well as Cricut, and so the stamps sets I'm using for my tag and for the little apple cider little greeting across the apple comes from the Mary Cafe set, and it's the apple cider greeting here with the little apple here. And then the to and from that we're going to do on the actual little scallop tag that's on the front is from the Seasonal Chums, and I'm doing just to and from as well. I've been using that particular to and from and the scallop punch throughout most of my craft fair prep, so they're very versatile. You can use them with anything. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my stamp pad. This is a new stamp pad. I just got it. My other one was cracked, and so I had to get me another one because the red was drying out really bad. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stamp this apple cider little greeting first, and I'm using Old Olive as for my green, And so I'm going to ink that up, and I hope I don't have a glare on my stamp block. I'm sorry if I do. Okay, so I stamped that. I'm going to put that aside. And then I'm going to stamp this little apple here. This is like it fills in the apple in the center, and it's going to be in real red. Let's see if I can do this without getting off. There we go. That's really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and punch those out. And I'm using the classic label punch. It's a retired punch now, but some of you may have it, hopefully. It's a really nice little label style punch. So I'm going to punch this out like that. And then I'm going to use my same punch to flag my corners. It's where I have a flag instead of the points. So I'm going to put that in there, make it as straight as I can, and punch it out. Same thing on this side. Put that in there. Ooh. Okay, so we have our tag there. Okay, we're going to set that to the side for right now, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch out a white scallop, 1 3/8 inch scallop punch. I'm going to go ahead and punch one of those out. This is going to be our to and from tag. Okay, and then I'm also going to go ahead and punch one out of this paper. This paper is the fruit stand paper. It's a retired designer series paper as well. It was from a few years ago in the, I think in the occasions, or the annual catalog. So the reason why I'm doing this white is because this is a double-sided, and I want it to be white on the back. So I'm going to stamp on this, and I'm using the Old Olive again, but I'm using the To From. I'm going to ink on that, and make sure it's good inked. And just step it down. There we go. We have our To and From. I'm going to go ahead and put my inks up to where they don't sit out in the air too long, because we're done with those. So now I'm going to add some of this regular snail adhesive to the side that I don't want to use, which is this looks like lemons. Just do like a few strips here, and I'll make sure I got my apples going the right direction and my To and From going the right direction. And I'm just going to line up my scallops, and okay, press it down, and then I'm going to take a 1/8 inch hole punch and put a hole in the top. So we have a cute little apple tag with the To and From on the back. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the linen twine that I have on the front. It's on the front of the bow here. We're going to go ahead and tie up our tag and have it ready to go. I use 10.5 inches. I have a little measuring thing that I made on my mat down here. You can't see me doing, but I am measuring out my twine. And I'm going to thread the twine through the hole here. Okay. And I'm going to match up the ends, make it even. And now I'm going to tie just a regular, I don't know what you call these kind, just a regular knot, loop knot, I don't know what it's called, but down close to the tag. Okay. Like that. And then I'm going to come up a little bit, and we're going to do it again up here a little higher. And you should have about 1 inch or so of twine between your two knots. Now with the excess here, we're going to tie a bow. Just a simple little cute bow. Tie it down. So then we're going to, I'll go through and I will fiddle and fidget with it until I get it the way I want it. Make it as even and pretty as I can. Okay. So we have that ready to go, and we'll set it aside. The next thing we need to do is tie our bow. I keep pulling this thing in and out. Oh, here it is. For the top of our apple, this cute little gingham ribbon. Now this ribbon came from Hobby Lobby. It's on sale now. They still have some. So it's just a really cute fall. It looks like a purpley burgundy color and orange. Real pretty. So the best way I do to tie these, I leave it on the spool. That keeps from wasting too much. But if not, if you need to cut it loose from the spool, I believe I have it down as an 8-inch piece of ribbon. So I just make a loop it around big like that, and then just kind of fold this under and tuck it in that hole, and then start working her down. Getting it tight. Getting it tight, and then pull in your little loops or rabbit ears or whatever your mom and dad taught you how to tie shoes. Just keep working her down till you get the right size that you want, like that. And then you want to cut, I flag my ends. You can angle them however you want to do it, but I flag my ends. And I'm not going to cut this as I got like 100 million of these things over here ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and use what I already have. So I have a bow. Now I need to pull in my cup and my apple. And then we need to pull in this little apple cider tag. And I am using Stampin' Up's little mini dimensionals. I'm going to use 3 of them. Okay. And I'm going to take the back off of them maybe. I have no fingernails, so we'll see how this goes. I got one more to go. Come on. Okay, so now I'm going to attach this cute little tag across the front of my apple, like so. Okay, to attach the apple to this cup, I'm going to use my, I think this is called a tiny attacher or something like that. This is a Tim Holtz tiny stapler. You can still get these. I think Stampin' Up had one at a time, but they quit selling it. So I got a Tim Holtz one, and it works great. So I have my little tiny staple in there holding my apple in. Put my dimensionals up. So I got my hot glue gun over here. It's been heating. It's ready to go. And I'm going to add my bow. I'm using hot glue for this because it works great. It'll secure fast. And, you know, it's just easier than trying to do liquid glue. So I'm going to attach my bow to the top of my apple, covering up that staple pretty much. Yeah, let it set up. So now we're going to bring in our little tag that we just created, and I'm going to add a little dot of glue to the back of my bow here using my glue gun. This is a precision tip glue gun. I believe I got it at Michael's. I like it. It's tiny, has a tiny tip on it to where you can get tiny dots of glue. So we have our little twine or jute bow on top of our cute gingham bow for a nice little kind of a rustic fall, makes you think of apple cider look. So then we have that. It turns over, you have a cute to from, easy to sign. So this is ready to go. So now we're going to talk about the goodies that I put in my cup. And I got these at Michael's last year. They were on clearance, and I was going to use them for something else. Ended up not using them. And so these work out perfectly for this. Being that the cup has little holes on either side, I did not want to just stick the items in loosely without having some kind of little bag going. Now you can use this whole bag and you can tie it up if you want at the top. I'm just using it more as another sleeve to keep anything from falling out of the holes here. I left everything open last year. It worked out fine. Nobody had any problems with it. And so I'm going to use some pinking shears to trim the top off this bag. And so I'm just going to cut it, try to cut it straight. And cut here, and I'm gonna try to see if my food saver will seal up one of these sides to where I can reuse that. Okay, so I'm done with those. So we have our nice little goodie bag. It has like a zigzag top cut out on it. Now for my apple cider, I'm just using this. I get it at Walmart. It's an Alpine spiced apple cider. It's actually really good. I have drank it before. Really good stuff. You can use whatever you want, but this is what I'm using for this project. I got these cute little cupcake picks from Walmart last year, or not Walmart, Hobby Lobby last year on clearance, and I wanted to just kind of make this look a little more fall-y like, and so I added with a little piece of tape one of my little picks here, and then I added these little glitter pumpkin stickers. As you see, I only have 3 left. These were also purchased at Hobby Lobby after Thanksgiving, and I added that to it to kind of add a nice little sparkle. So I add that to my packet. So you have the main thing, which is the apple cider. Okay, so my next thing that I add is a stir stick or a straw. Now I have this straw that I probably got at Hobby Lobby. I couldn't tell you, I can't remember, but I get them, you can get them about anywhere. This is a gold spiral straw. And these little stir sticks here I got at Target last year, I believe, and I don't have very many of them. So I'm probably going to just use these to keep them all the same, to where I don't have anybody fussing over, you know, any of that kind of, you know, I don't want any type of anybody saying, oh, I want this, can I remove this, can I add that, because I don't like people doing that to my stuff when I make it. So I'm adding my cute little straw, and it can be used as a stir stick. It's just a little simple paper straw. And then I'm going to add some cowtails. These are really good. It's caramel with a little cream center, just like the bullseyes, but it's in a stick form. So these are little minis. And I got these at Cracker Barrel. Probably can get them at Walmart, but I was in Cracker Barrel and I found them there. And then I'm going to add one of these 2 flavors. I got a cinnamon stick and I have a green apple flavored candy stick. These are the Gilliam brand, and I found them online, but you could only order like 80 at a time. I mean, I didn't need 80, I only needed like 20 or 30. So Cracker Barrel, then again, actually had these that I could, you know, get them from them. So I got these at Cracker Barrel, and then I added one of those to my packet. And then we have our little cider cup here, our little packet, and then we're going to just tuck everything down inside like that. Just kind of arrange it to where it'll lay the way you want it, and that's it. You got a cute little apple cider cup gift to give to somebody, to make for a craft fair, however you want to do it. I think it's a nice little gift. I sell these for, I did last year for $4, and like I said, I sold out of all of them, and I have a November craft fair this year. It's a little earlier than was last year, but I think they should still sell well because they're really cute and a nice little unique way to, you know, give a gift to somebody. And so that's my project, and I'm glad you guys took the time to watch my videos. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and I have been putting out more videos lately. I'm learning my editing software a little better. I feel a little less intimidated by it. So I am trying to put more videos out as I go. I will put down in the description below a link or a URL to get to the Cricut files that I have on my Tami's Crafty Creations shared. That way you don't have to go trying to find me on Facebook. You can go straight to it. If you also get a chance, go to Tami's Crafty Creations. That is my Facebook page. I try to post things that I'm working on throughout the year, and you know, like my page. That also helps me out. And so yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch my video. We'll see you next time.